Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. My name is Dr. Muhammad Mohaizabi Musa and I will guide you throughout this presentation.
Give this session to all the educators in Malaysia, and I hope that this session will be a continuous session where we can get also engaged not only through WebEx, but also you can also engage with me in my Facebook later on. Okay, let us begin. Now, if you can see my screen, all right, we are actually using the Office 365 account. So basically, this is what I want you to do. Now, if you are able to also go into your computer, whether it's laptop or desktop, you can also try to go into this website name, which is the office.com, and try to log in with your Office 365, and then we try to do this simultaneously, the discussion about this presentation, as well as to get you know on using the Office 365. Now, we're moving to the next slide. Now, okay. Let me go into what is class notebook in Microsoft Teams. So basically what we have here, all right, we are going to use class notebook function in Microsoft Teams. So I hope that at the end of this session, all right, you will be able to use class notebook later on in your Microsoft Teams. So I hope you also are familiar with Microsoft Teams. So let me introduce about myself first. My name is Dr. Muhammad Mohaizabi Musa. I am a senior lecturer in the School of Economics, Finance and Banking, University of Malaysia, and you can contact me in the following email afterwards if you need any information. And the fun fact about myself is basically I am a YouTuber and I have a channel called Digital Education Academy. So I always like to share knowledge about online learning and also what I did for my classes using Microsoft application. Now, the fun fact is that we are in the period where we want to conduct our class effectively, and the problem is that how to conduct our class efficient with all the class notes that we want to share with students. Now, the first question that I want to give to you is that how to use the class notes and use the function of a digital binder that acts like a private folder and also a collaborative space for students to actually share what they did in their class activity. Because when we want to monitor our students' performance, we want to ensure that everyone will be able to actually share what they do in class, right? Now, there is let me see, there is a problem here in the okay, let me see. Now my voice is too slow. Maybe I'm not sure what is happening. Let me adjust it a little bit. Okay. All right, I hope it can be here better. Okay. Now next slide. Okay, now the values that I want you to learn today is that in order for you to have an effective collaboration, it sometimes needs to have a longer period of time. But because we don't have a long period of time, then we need to come up with a good strategy or a good app to conduct the session with the class. So that's why the class notebook will be a good session. Right now, what does a class notebook have is that it acts like a digital binder to help to organize the lecturer notes as well as the public content. Now let me see some comment. Okay. Try. Okay. I want to see whether my voice is clear or not. Okay. Okay. Let me try to stop this recording. Let me try to give participant mute all. Okay. Alright. So now I have muted everyone. Sorry for that. So let me bring back to the presentation. So what I will do, I will go back, share content. Okay. Now, okay. Thank you very much. So let me share back. Okay. All right. Give me a moment. Okay, now the OneNote class notebook. Let me put this one. Okay. Now let me go back a little bit. Okay, now basically the main idea of a class notebook, or it is also called a OneNote class notebook in Teams, is that we want students not only to see our notes but also to write their progress of their work, whether they want to do a mind map of the class note or they want to write a simple annotation, but using their own space, and also allow the lecturer to actually able to share their materials with the student without using other methods, for example, email. So everything can be done using class notebooks that is available in Teams. So let's bring to the next part. Now, it is providing a digital space that will enhance students to write their assignments, and also to allow lecturers to do the grading, and also to give feedbacks straight away to students. So it is also offering the insights into the student engagement in their work with teachers sign. So we want actually to see how the lecturer can get engaged with the student through the class notebook annotation function. Okay, now let's bring to the key takeaways in today's presentation. Is basically we want to know whether you have planned for your teaching materials. Now, how you going to come out with sharing the materials with the students, all right, in one way, one function, okay, without going through many places we need to upload. So this is a good way we want to learn today. And then the second point is we want to know is how does the activities that is conducted by student can actually moves or grow from day to day until we finish our student activity. We've finished our course at the end of the semester. So we want to see the research grow. And then you can also look into how you're going to share your collection of your slides, your videos that you want your student to use, right? And also another way that you can also put it in this training is that you also want students to communicate better and to be able to collaborate not only with the lecturer but also with other groups that they have assigned to do their group projects or assignment. So that is the key takeaways for today's training. Now let us see a little bit about the overview of the lecture. What is the features that is available in class notebook? Now let us see this little bit of video. Now there will be certain slides will be played in the video, and let's see this video a little bit.
OneNote Class Notebook and Microsoft Teams, Two's company. At Microsoft Education, we're strong believers in Two's company. That means that sometimes our tools pair up to support your classroom. OneNote Class Notebook within Teams is one of those dynamic duos. So you have Teams, where you and your students communicate in conversations. OneNote Class Notebook acts like a digital classroom binder, giving you a place to organize course content and providing every student a private place to take notes. The Class Notebook tab is automatically added to your class team and lives in the General channel. You can start the setup process and be guided through a few steps to create a notebook for every student in this class. But for now, let's look at a class notebook that's already been made. As we dive in, remember that Class Notebook is organized left to right. These are sections. Sections in Class Notebook are just like dividers in a 3-ring binder. As we click through different sections, you'll see pages nested under them. The sections that automatically come with your Class Notebook are the collaboration space, where students can organize and create content together. As students work in this space, they may have questions or need to discuss a project. This they can easily do in a channel conversation. As a teacher, you can oversee work in the collaboration space and then provide support in channel conversations or private chats. Another section is the content library, where you can post important resources, handouts, and more for students to reference. All materials in this section are read-only and students can't edit them. Then, here are the private student notebooks. These are automatically created for each student in your class team. Only you and the individual student can see them. Students can use these personal notebooks to take notes, work on homework, and store research. It's a home base and prep space where they can develop their own work and keep thoughts organized. Plus, you can check in and provide guidance using one-on-one chat to answer questions or give feedback. This teacher has also chosen to add a teacher-only section. A little slice of solitude for planning lessons, developing content not quite ready for students, or anything else reserved for teacher eyes only. Need to manage your class notebook? Just select the Class Notebook tab in the ribbon to access it and make changes. Private work, collaboration, engaged conversations. Already your classroom currencies,
Alah,
now they've
ini
brought
memang
Class Notebook and
silent
Teams
langsung
together.
ke?
To study up on all things Microsoft Teams for Education, check out support.office.com/education.
Dia tak dengar apa kita cakap kot.
Hello. Sorry, ada yang tak dengar ke?
Tak dengar.
Okey.
Tak dengar.
Tak apa.
Ya, tak dengar.
Minta maaf ada masalah teknikal tadi, tak apa. So kita tengok balik slide ini. Apa-apa pun saya cuba bagi link lah. Terus I give you the links to the materials that I have shown you here. So basically the video that we have seen just now, you can see it here on the YouTube channel. Alright. And this is also one link that I want to share here, which is the class notebook guide, where basically you can read later in this PDF file. I open a little bit. So in this what we call guide, you can see this guide here. Alright. So basically this is Microsoft Teams guide. Alright. And also you can get other guide from this link. Alright. Now I want you to later, after this session, to also go to this link. Alright. I'm going to try to post this link on the chat later, so you can explore the Microsoft what we call training on your own. So what it does, I give you an example of the training which you can do on your own, because in learning this session, it's important that you try on your own. So what it does, if you look here, now in the first link, it will give you this demonstration on getting started with OneNote class notebook. So when you click here, they will come up with a flash what you call training. So you just click play and it will direct you to the explanation, and also you can move the mouse, right, in order in the direction that they told you to. Right, hold on. I'm going to pause it. Hold on. Okay. Sorry about that. I have muted. Okay. Mute. Okay. Wait. I'm trying to mute all, but it doesn't click there. Okay, let me try on this page. Okay, now, okay, let me continue. So, okay, all right. So let me go to this slide. So, okay. So this is where you can have your online training using OneNote for teachers. So basically, this is what is available for everyone for free. So you can go later, right? So, right. So all these things is very important for you to go through on your own. And today's session, I'm just going to share what I did for my class in the previous semester. Now, if I want to do hands-on, it will be at the end of the session, inshallah, in the 30 minutes. So let me move on. Sorry, there will be no audio. So, okay, now, of course, this is the hands-on that you can do. Now, first thing first, before we do a class notebook in Teams, you need to learn on how to create teams first. Now, this is a step. Now, when you go to log into the Office 365 account, right, you will need to go into the Teams. So when you already go into the Teams, so there are several steps here that I have put here, but never mind, right? You can see this step on the slides, right? And also I'm going to give to you a guide, right, on how to use the team. So in here, all right, there is also the takeaways on this training on using the class notebook. So I will give this, I upload this one with the UTLC, so you can later on go with the handouts. So let me explain about the steps first on creating the team. So first, you need to create the team by clicking the join or create the team. And then second step is to, once you go into this space, you click create team here, tab. Next is that once you create a team, you need to create the proper template, which for your class, you use the template class. And then the next step, the fourth step, is to name the class topic, class title, and then you can click next, right? And finally, you can invite students. So you can either invite them manually, where you type the names, or you can give the invitation link. Just click the skip, all right? Now, this one already explained in the previous training, but you can see my Facebook page to learn about the how to invite students with the link, invitation link. Now, we're going to focus on setting up the class notebook in Teams. So first thing is that you need to, in the Teams, right, you can begin to click on this icon, set up the class notebook, all right? And after that, in the Teams, all right, you will see that this is the icon, which is a set up class notebook, all right? So the third step involved is you can create it with a blank notebook, right? And then finally this is the fourth step, where when you want to create the class notebook, right, it will detail to you what you will have in the class notebook. There are three parts that will be available in the class notebook. Number one is the collaborative space, where you as the lecturer, you can edit the content, whether it is a PowerPoint or a PDF file, or you can allow also students to edit the content, the same content, right? So this is the element of collaboration space. Now the third part, the second part that is available in your class notebook, you will have also a content library. So this is where you are the only one that edit the content, and students can only view the content without editing. So usually what I do is that I will share my class handouts in the content library, right? So students will only see the slides without editing the slides. The third part that is available in this template is the student notebook. So this is very important when you have using the class notebook in Teams, because you want to see each individual student work that they have done for their classes, whether you want to see their student class notes, or you want to see their assignment. They can write here in the student notebook. So this is how it will be created. You click next, and then this is where in the third part, which is the student private section, right, the third part, you can insert what is the folders that a student will have for everyone. So you don't need to add one by one. It will be automatically generated for every students that have joined your class, right, in Teams, right? So you can have handouts, class notes, whatever. There are these folders where you can edit the name, or you can reduce or add the session, and you click create. Now this is the final step when you want to set up the class notebook in Teams, where you want to click create, and then you will wait for Microsoft OneNote to create the class notebook in Teams. And finally, you wait for a few minutes. You will see this space in Microsoft Teams. So this is where you will see the result. And I will explain to you a little bit the activities. Now, Dr. Anggapan asked about whether this is viable to change our LMS using this function. I mean, this is already prescribed by, subscribed by UUM. So online learning used by UUM, the Moodle software, all right, is good already. Just that using Microsoft OneNote class notebook in the current Moodle subscribed by UUM, it will be difficult because there is integration problem. So for the time being, we can only use Microsoft Teams separately, and it cannot be integrated with the current UUM online class in Moodle. Okay, but anyway, this is for the purpose of teaching our class during our online session. We just use this independently because this account is already being set to accommodate all the UUM students. So basically, this is already being collecting data only for registered UUM students. So this is one point that I want to highlight. When you use class notebook, you can actually ensure that the integrity of the students participant, because only registered students in UUM can access your class notebook in Teams. Because usually when you want to use other app, for example Google Classroom, they will use their Google account, and the problem is that how can you verify that that particular account is the actual students that is taking your class? So I believe that that will be a good point when you want to use OneNote class notebook and also Microsoft Teams. Alright, now let me explain a little bit. Now when you see here, now you will see that this is the space that you will see in Microsoft class notebook in Teams. Now the first one that I highlighted is the tab in Microsoft Teams. So when you click this tab, it will bring you to the canvas. So this is called the canvas. So in the canvas, all right, you will see that all the work that you are preparing to do with your students, as well as what you want your students to see, will be here. So in this part, right? There is a welcoming page. You can edit later the welcoming page notebook, all right, on the canvas. We do it later in the session. Now, what you will see also in this canvas is this part. Now, this is, we call on the left side is sections in the class notebook. So you will see that there are a lot of sections, right? There is welcoming section, you know, as we have explained, there is collaboration section, content section, right? Now there is a teachers only section. Now this teacher only section is where you only see this, the content, and student will not see the content. And sometimes, you know, you want to prepare for your class before you want to distribute your students, so you can prepare your materials content in this teacher only session. I will show you how to do this later. Now, after this section, in this canvas, we can also see the pages. Now, this is the page, right? Page section. So, in every section, they have pages. For example, in the welcome section, you see 3 pages that is already created. Or you can create more pages, it's up to you. Alright? So, this is what we call pages. Alright. And this is what we can say that this is where the content in the pages looks like if you want to share with your students or you want them to see. So this is what you can write here. You can insert pictures, or you can insert link, or you write up here, alright, in this location. Now, this is, we go back to the section. Right, each section will have their own pages, and this is where the content of the pages will see. Now, this is the teacher section where only you can see, students will not see. And this is where the section where all your students that already registered through the teams will have. So this is what we call individual students private folder. Okay, so you will see the student's name. So you can verify the student's name with your student's attendance. So students, right, is important. All right, now this is where you will see the content. For example, the student's name is here, and once you expand the student's name, you will see the folders that is already created for them. So this is where students' engagement, right? Whether they want to share their work or what they have done in their classes. All right. In order for us to detect our students' attendance, I would like to give you some strategy. Now, you can create a form for students to fill up, right, in the Microsoft Teams. So when you created a form, so every time that students attend your what you call synchronous session, so they will try to fill up the form. So this is where Microsoft Teams will do, right? Now the second part, this is where the students' work will be shown to us, right? In here example. Now let us look into this activity, or we want to explore this on my page. Now we will want to make a class notebooks, right? We also want to create a teacher only session in this activity. So what I will do, alright, I will open up, I will close my presentation, right? And I will open up the website that I have done. Now here, I will go into the office.com, where you will see there are, once you log in, right, you will see there are the apps that you can use. So basically you want to use the Teams app, right? There's also Class Notebook app. You can also click there, but for our practice, we will look into the Teams app in this office.com. So once you click there, you bring to here. Now, this is basically in Teams, right? I have created my students team, which is A191 BWBB 3053 marketing. So what I have done is that I have communicated with students to join these teams. Now, how do I do that? Now, it's very simple. Now, in this team, once you created the class, right, which is, let's say, this function, okay, you just click the three button here, and then go get link to team. So once you get link to team, you just copy this one, copy the link to the team, and in order for you to let students know, because they are easily contacted in the WhatsApp, you just post the link to this team in WhatsApp. So you can post it here. Okay, so very simple. Now, then you send to them. And the way that you want to ensure that they have done or they have added, okay, for example, I will see once they click, they sign in using their students sign in. This is for students, right? Then they will go and add the class. And for example, I have a student who have clicked the link, and this is where you need to, as an administrator to this class, you need to click on the activity, and you want to accept this student that in the class that click the link in the WhatsApp. You want to accept them in order for them to be seeing the content. So you click accept in the activity tab, right? And you go click the notification. These are all the notification. And here you will see that for this class, there is pending request. So you need to accept it. So once you accept students that click the class link, then they will be accepted to the teams. All right. And then you can also, create other information. For example, once you have this, you can start to post, or if you want, you can check the students that participated in the team. Who are they? You just manage the team, and you can check the students that is already in the team. So you can click here in the manage team. These are the students' name. Okay. Now, once you have this, now what you can do, right? You can see your class notebook, and once you created the class notebook, right? I will expand it here. This is what you will see, right? Inside Teams, you will see the class notebook is already created for the class. Now, let me expand here by this expand tab. Now, what I'm showing you is the function that is using the web browser to open the class notebook inside Teams. So there's also a version in the desktop version, but we will not go to the desktop version. We only go into the web browser version, because if you go into the desktop version where you download the Microsoft 365 app and open up the application from the computer, you need to ensure that whatever work that you did in the app must be synchronized. So there is also additional work to ensure that the data that you work in the desktop is connected to the server in the Microsoft. So the way that I do is that all the work for my classes, I will do it using the web browser. So how to do the web browser is typing the website name or just clicking on the Office 365 website. Now, here, if you click on this arrow here in the class notebook, you see the collaboration space, the content space, and also the student private space. So this is how I will be observing my students. So let us go to this practice on creating this one. So this is the result that we want, right? So at the end, all right, how we want to see this one, okay? First thing that I want you to do, all right, is that we want to manage our class notebook. Once we created, we want to manage our class notebook. So open this tab called class notebook inside the themes, and then inside the themes you expanded this one, okay, and then you see beside the help there is this function class notebook, and you see distribute page, right? All this, you go and open manage notebook. All right, now inside this manage notebook, when you click, right, you want to ensure that you want to create this teacher only section group. So you are in the manage notebook section, right? What you can also do in the manage class book section is also you can lock or unlock the collaboration space also. So because sometimes when you do the work and you don't want students to write anymore in the collaboration space, you can click lock by simply click here. So it will not allow students to do any work in the collaboration space. So this is very good, where you give them the deadline for them to update the work in the collaboration space, and you want them to work efficiently, all right, you can close the collaboration space, all right, or you want them to continue the work. It's up to you. So this is where you can see in the manage class book tab in the browser version. And then let us create a teacher section. You know, just now we have three parts. One is the collaborations section, the second is the content library, and the third is the student private section. But I want to create a section where only the teacher can see the content. So I have not created this one in the class notebook. So I will click in the manage class notebook where I go here. Let us go back here in the manage class book. Let's close. Okay. You will see here again. Where do I see the manage class notebook? Okay. This is where here, okay. This one, okay. So that is okay. You see, this is in the themes. You see general, but inside the class notebook, okay, you go into here, the class notebook tag here. So here, okay, I expand this one better because I don't see the manage one. So I go expand it and I will see this one. As you know, before I go to the teacher section, if I check again the open navigation panel, I only see collaboration space and content library and the student's name. So if I go here, manage, I don't have the teacher section. So I want to have my own teacher section so I can help to prepare my content. I go and click enabling my teacher section and it is enabled. Now when you go back, okay, close. So, okay, so you open this arrow panel to open the navigation panel. And here, there you go. you will see the teacher only section. Okay. Now here you can start to click underneath the teacher only section. You click here, all right, and what you can do, okay, you can add the page by adding this page button. Click the plus sign, the beneath one, okay, beneath one, okay, beneath one, and then there. You can begin to type in the file name in the page name. You can say class preparation materials, okay, topic, let's say I want to talk about topic 7, okay, because I'm going to begin the lecture on topic 7. So after I did this, I will click enter. Sorry, just click here. Then enter. Right. Then I can start to insert my work. So what I can do, I just double click in this workspace. We call this canvas, and I can start to, for example, if I want to share, I can put in a picture, okay, from file, okay. You can choose here. For example, I have downloaded this one. Okay. So any content that you want to insert, you can start to prepare and insert. Okay. Now, the next point, after you finish this, let's say, for example, you want to share with your students, okay, maybe you want to prepare the question or activity, right? The part where it's important is you want to share with your students folder, because you want them to work inside. Because if you don't click share, students will not see your content in the teacher only section. So how to do this? Okay, you click here, right, and you go to your class notebook, and you want to distribute page, which is this is the page. Okay, so you just click here, double click, and then you want to distribute page, okay, so you don't need to go into group distribution, cross book distribution, okay, you just go to distribute page, the first one. Okay, this will be once you click there, you will distribute it to all the students. So what you see, you want them to see it in this one. Okay, the folder that you created, remember, this is the student folder, okay, student name and then the student folder. So you want them to see your content of we have prepared them to do activity in any of the folder. So you can pick here, okay, maybe here, okay, you pick. Then once you do this, you click the button distribute. So means that you have prepared your material, and before you begin your session, maybe you want to distribute the content in your class notebook student to everyone, right? For example, if I click here, they will not see anything. Okay, so let's say I pick this student, so they will not see anything on the page, right? So what I want as a teacher, okay, I ask them, okay, please see my material that I have distributed in the individual assignment. So I click on the teachers only section, click the page that I have prepared and already inputted the material that I want them to do, maybe a task or what, and then they can work on this page, the task. Yes, it is recorded. Okay, and then I will click here, distribute. Okay, I pick the page that I want to distribute, and then I click distribute. So it will be waiting to distribute among the students in this class A192 BWBB 3053 Group A notebook. So it will distribute among the students. So it will take some time, but when I do it online, at least I know it is distributed straight away to the students. Okay. Now, let them wait. Okay, that is the step. Now, let me show you what I did. Now, this is the step for you to create the class. And then second, create the class notebook in the Teams. And then the third one, create the content in the teacher section. And then the fourth one is sharing the content in the teacher section to distribute among students for them to see. So this is the step in the class notebook. And the final part in this presentation, all right, let me go back to this one. We have done this one, wake up the class, which is you can type, you can do the teacher on the section. We have done this. Okay, now this creating the third part in this presentation, creating a class notebook assignment in Teams. So we have done this, okay? Just now in the step, we want them to do some assignments. So first thing, we want them to see what they need to do. All right, in the class activity, we prepare the content in the teacher only section, and then after that, we will distribute to students. And then how to track the students' work. Now, in order for them to see this part, track students' work, leave feedback, and send work. So I will open up my previous class notebook with students. So I give you example in this activity. So this is what I did for my students. So as you can see that this is the students folder, right? And when I see the students folder here, right, I open up this one, and in this folder, section group project, I will be able to track the student project on this page inside the Teams, inside the class notebook. So I will see everyone will see this one. And also, okay, when I want to see their work, I go to the folder class note from this particular student. I want to see what they have done. Now, when the student will need to update the page. So we have to tell them when they receive this class notebook in the Teams, they need to start exploring the add page function on their class notebook, and then begin to know how to create the page title and then the content, inserting the content, the same thing. Now, the question at the end of the semester, all right? So basically, in Teams, you can maintain the record of the students' file. But when you want to begin a new course with new students, what you can do is that you can copy create the Teams for your new students, the same process every semester, and then create the class notebook that we have done the step, and then the content that you have created in the teacher session, you can copy back from the other workbook that you have prepared. So there is a function distribute to cross section, right? Remember? So this is the point. You can reuse your material that you have prepared in the previous class. Okay. So this is very good. Okay, you don't need to redo your work back for every semester. Only that you have to make sure that you have prepared your teacher section for every semester. So you distribute that teacher section to your new class notebook. Okay, so in students' private folder, okay, I want to know what the student did. So what I did is, this is what the student have write. Okay, and if I want to comment, I will comment here, and once I comment here, it will give me the name of the person that comment. For example, I commented this one, so it will pop up my name, DIM, Dr. Muhammad Muhaizam bin Musa. So it is easily for me to track who commented this one. But it's no problem, because in the student section, the student and you only can see the content. Other student will not see the content. But if you see in the collaboration space, okay, so for example, this space, not only you will see the space, students can see the space, and student can start to comment. So I give you another workbook. I have here, okay, example, this notebook. Wait. Okay, let me open up this one. Okay. So this is how the student can do. Okay. So this is student collaboration. Example, what they did. So this is where students can also put or share their preparation on the class. They can take the picture of the class note and insert in the page. So this is where I monitor, and if I want to say something, I just double click here and I just say very good. So that's it. So this is where students will get the engagement from the instructor. So I don't need to inform him. The student will see my comment here, right? So that brings us to this one, right? How to leave feedback and offer support, track student work. We've done that, right? And assign grades. So assign grades, right? You can assign the grades to individual students. So what I did, for example, in my class notebook here, okay, as you can see here, is the pages I want to distribute, right? Takes some time to distribute to cross the students. So leave it be, okay? So I want to see, okay. So in order for you to give the grades for students, so you can click here in what we call assessment result. Okay, this is the section that you created for each of the students. So what you can do in order for you to give the grade to each student for their work, right? You just click on this student's assessment, and then you can say here, okay, can type here, okay, then done. Okay, you see, done. So the notes that I want each of the student distributed is done. So let us check on the individual assignment. There you go. So it's already been distributed. Okay, So same goes that if you want to distribute anything, just simply click the button on your teacher section. Okay, teacher section. Then on here, go to this one and click. Okay, go to this one and click distribute page. Very simple. Okay, so you don't need to do tedious work. Okay, for your class note, for your assessment, this one you can rename the name of the section here. Alright, when you create. Okay, so let's go back. How to give the assessment? You click here. Let's say you want to give assessment individual project.
Madam, sorry, we have two questions in the chat.
Yes.
There are two questions in the chat box. And can you answer the question while doing that?
Okay. How to open
and your
the
voice
chat?
is sometimes is getting lower. Can you raise up your voice a little bit?
Okay.
Alright, thank you.
Okay. Let us see. Okay. Okay. Let me go and increase the voice. So let me see the comment. Where is the comment? Okay, let me first ending this one. So the comment for I read the last one. Does it work with student with low bandwidth? Okay, so Ratnia asked. So basically, if student with low bandwidth, I suggest them to use with their handphone, because in their handphone they can use the Teams app which they downloaded. So it's the same thing with WhatsApp. So they open it in the app and then they can start to do all this activity in the Microsoft Teams app. So inside the app, you will see the class notebook portion. They can write their activities, they can write their notes and everything. They can upload the pictures, because sometimes sometimes students didn't bring also their laptop to work. So with Microsoft Teams and class notebook, they can do all the class activity with their handphone. So I will tell the student, right, once we created this in our browser, right, they can look into their Teams app in their handphone, where they log in with their UM ID, and then they will see all the content. Okay, so that will answer it. So low bandwidth, that should not be a problem, because we don't use video a lot. Okay, we, like for my classes, I will give them assignment, I will post them certain articles, so I want them to write back in the section. So what I do is that for Teams, let's say that I go back here. Okay, so go here. Okay, you can see the post. So inside this post, okay, you can start to have conversation. Okay, so beside the class notebook, okay, which you can communicate. Now this is you have not created, so you can also use this one. But this one, you don't have the individual section, but you can create a team section here in the Teams.
Can you please share the screen?
Okay, sorry. sorry. Sekejap. I'm sharing the screen. Okay. Sorry. Just now I talk about the class notebook. Alright. You can open up the Teams post here. Alright. You can ask them to write in their handphone conversation in the general, so everyone can see. what they have done in their work, or you can let them, after they see the content in the class book, they can respond to the work, their work in the teams that I have assigned. For example, you have in the teams you have general. So general, everyone in the class can see. If you create a team section, which is easily can be done, only the members in the team section inside this class team can see. For example, in this team 10C, I only want this student, 5 students, to see my what we call discussion, or they share their work among them in this teams section. So for example, if they see in the class notebook, they need to submit certain work, so they will submit their work through their handphone in the team section. So I go here, and how to create these teams, right, individual teams. I go the 3 button, and then I click add channel. So for example, I want to create a new student team for them to respond their work in only with certain people inside this class. So I will click private class for team 1C. Okay, and then I click here private, and I click next. So once you created this team, is private, so only students with this name. For example, I want to have Muhammad Alif. Okay, so usually what I did is that I will ask students who already created their group in the team, so only the member in the group will join. So I will have their name list, and then I add them here. So only this student will have, alright. Okay, this is the student. So only this student that inside this private will see this chat. Okay. If you go to general, every student will see it. So sometimes, it's inconvenient. So this will help students to use handphone. Now for low bandwidth. So the second question, Dr. Agapan, I want to see the question. Now basically, okay, let me go a little bit. This one we have demonstrated. Okay, we have done this. Okay, student collaboration. Okay, we already done this. Handouts, class notebook. So this is the part you have created because you want them in the collaboration. Sometimes you don't want other students to see the work, so you need to create a private folder. This is the private folder. It's only accessible to you, so you can check their work, right? And this is the space that you can create it. Okay, so okay, it have this one, collaboration space, content already have. In Teams, students can collaborate using Teams in chat and conversation. So I have explained to you the chat function, where the chat function can go into the general or the private group that you created. Alright, so this one, okay. Example of student work, I have done this. Okay, this is a student work. They can do and put in pictures. So this is how a student give their task, right? Let's say for example, you want student to collaborate. So in the collaboration space, you put in assignment 1. So they put in the picture and answers, right? And then student 2 want to put their input, they put their name there and put the feedback. Okay, so it's quite convenient for students to share their work in collaboration. It's also, they use communication in the teams to communicate their work in the teams, in the class notebook work. So this is very important to use Teams efficiently in conversation. And this is the conversation part in Teams. This is where students responded, right? So the function here, okay, mention. Please ensure that you are familiar with the alias, the keyboard alias, right? Because if you want certain people in the class to take note of your conversation, you can type alias and then the student name. So it will bring up that specific student. Okay. So, okay, this one we don't need because we don't have time. Okay. Now, wrapping up, it's important to have a good digital binder that will have a private and collaboration space that enhances student learning. We did that. And how we can improve students to communicate with us. So, I share with you how students can improve in Teams. So, we go back. So this is how I have this communication in Teams. Okay, class notebook is where you share your notes. Okay, and posts in Teams is where you want them to communicate efficiently. So example here, I have, okay, this is the activity I want to check. Okay, example today I asked them to write something, right, about their student condition. I post them in the Teams and post the link, and then they responded here. So what I will do, if I want to acknowledge the student done this, I don't need to click reply. So I will just click here above like icon, so that they know that I have reacted to their message. So it's very easy in Teams. So you can also encourage students also to do the same with your posts. So this is the function that I want to share today. So Teams and class notebook works hand in hand in order to enhance your online teaching experience with your students. So I believe this is very important. You have very good communication with your student. You know how to distribute your content in the class notebook, and also you want them to assess a student in their assignment or their project individually, because privacy is very important for students, especially nowadays. We want to assess students based on the coursework assessment. So some of the work is being done individually, so we only give the feedback to individual student or a certain group of students. So that takes care of it. And in this presentation, lastly, this is the activity. I think this is it. So yeah, so these are the things that you need to do if, for example, you're going to use Microsoft Teams and class notebook in your desktop. Make sure that you have this requirement in your desktop, and at least the space that you have is 16 gigabyte. But if you are using the web browser version, right, it will give you 1 terabyte of memory size, because you are using their cloud version. So I think that's all that I want to share for my session. So I will give back to Dr. Izwan, and then let me ask you any question that you want to ask.
Yes, so thank you, Dr. Maizal, for sharing. I open the session to the participants. If you have anything to share or to ask to Dr. Maizal, can you always ask the question directly to Dr. Maizal. No problem, just unmute your mic.
Okay.
Do you mind repeat again how to create the class? and how to, I know how to create the class, but I don't know how to invite the students to the class notebook. Can you repeat it again?
Okay, boleh. Thank you, Dr. Nosiha. So I go to here. So if I want to share this team, okay, in the Microsoft Teams, you click one of the class. You go here. You go back. Okay, you pick the class that you want to share. For example, I want to share this one. You can open up the three dots here. Okay, it will give you manage team, add channel. What you want is you want to get link to team. So you click there and it will give you the link to the class team. So you copy that and then you will go to your WhatsApp and then you paste here with your student. So that is the steps that you are required in order for you to share the link to your teams. And once you share it, make sure that you accept them. So how you want to accept them? You go back to your teams and then you go to the activity section and you will go try to look whether is there any pending that you need to accept. So once you see some students is pending in their class enrollment, you just click the accept button. Okay, which I think you need to do that in the activity. And then once you click accept, example, I have copied this picture. Okay. So example, I want to show to you. This is what you will see usually. So you click the activity and then you click the accept here. So once you finish this step, the students will be in the teams. Okay, Dr. Nosiha? You can also, as Dr. Anggapan said, can put the link in the LMS. So you just simply go to your portal and click the link to your LMS. Sure, no problem. Any other question?
Assalamualaikum Doktor, saya Khairul. Doktor,
Yes.
saya nak check kalau student yang bukan, example macam saya teaching student for PJJ, PACE kan. So is it those student yang outside tu yang tak ada apa, basically dia tak guna apa ni, mostly our email address untuk dia punya apa ni, dia punya email. So adakah dia boleh join this apa ni, this class? Thank you.
Okay. So I have not tried that outside the organization. So maybe what you can do here, there is a solution by Dr. Sauda, okay, that you can share the code to join the class, which I will show you here. Let me share you the screen. I have not tried this because usually if other person outside the organization, they will be treated as guests. So if guests, sometimes they don't see the class notebook section. Okay, but you can try. What you can do is that you can invite students, say that please join this class with the class code. So instead of because in the Microsoft Office, they can log in with their own email. Let them try to go to the office.com, then log in, and then after they log in, if they can go into Teams, then there should be no problem with their own standalone email. But I think they don't have it. That's the problem for other account other than UUM email. But you can do this. Try here. What I did is that I will go to the Teams. Okay, give the invitation link, and then you can also give them the code. Go to the manage team, and then you go to the setting in this part. Then you can use the team code. So let's say that you want students to join through the team code. Okay, you generate here, you copy, or you give this code to student. Okay, let's say that you WhatsApp them, you give this code. So how to join this? Okay, once they go into the Teams here, okay, let's say office.com. Okay, they can see these Teams. They click it here. Okay, when they log in with their own email. Oh, Dr. Sauda said it is inter-organization. So thank you, Dr. Sauda. So I think, yeah. So let's say we have here also participants from the Microsoft Education, also from other institution. Okay, let's say I give you example. If they are in the organization, you just go and join team code. If they can see this, just paste the code, then join. I think that's one way to try. I'm not sure for the PJJ student. Okay. Yes, Dr. Sauda said that Teams is restricted to intra-company only, not inter-organization. So staff and students that is valid can join only. Any more question before we end up at 12:30? Anyway, you can see also the video recording in my Facebook page. And also I will share the materials with UTLC.
Madam, yeah, one more question. Around 11:30. So is this, sorry, how do we see student attendance in the student page?
Okay, for student attendance, because I don't share QR code, but I will ask students to fill up a form for them to validate their attendance. So I will just create a form, for example, Google form or Microsoft form. So I ask them to post their attendance. Like, for example, I share it in the Teams. So, for example, I have a team. and then let's say that I want student to respond. So every time that I have a session, I post the form here. So they will click here and then they will fill up the form. So at least this one will take care of because in the form there is a time when they fill up the forms, and you can ask them to, you know, take the picture of the screen to validate the attendance. Because for me, I will not conduct classes synchronous all the time. I will do a synchronous session with students. So sometimes students will take their own time to go through the class material. Not the same time, their own time, because I also believe students, they would have difficulty to join the session at the same time with other students. So that's why we created these teams and class notebook, so they can go to the material independently and just fill up the form you can attach for attendance. Let me show you the screen where here a little bit of the screen. So this is the screen where I share students' attendance. Okay, so this is on the post. I write what I have done, and then please fill up the form. So that is how I will ask students to share the attendance. Any more question? Just make sure that you go to this later on. This is very important. I will give you the link on the this one. I give it now in the what you call chat. Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Mohaizam. So if there are no more questions from the participants,